The call came at 11:47 p.m. Anniversary night. Candles still burning down into wax scars on the table. 2 plates untouched. Her voice, calm, professional. Too clean. "Business trip," she said. "Emergency. I'll make it up to you." I stared at the flame until it bent sideways, thin and frantic. My reflection in the window looked older than it should have. I told her it was fine. I meant the word, not the feeling. Then a text arrived. Not for me. A preview flashed on her phone as it buzzed on the counter. 3 words and a hotel logo. I didn't read it. I didn't need to. The room went quiet in a way that felt intentional, like something had chosen me. I put on my coat. The night outside was clean and sharp. The city had the decency not to pretend. At the hotel, the elevator hummed like a held breath. I didn't plan anything. Planning would have implied hope. I just followed the numbers. The door opened easily. It always does when you already belong. I saw clothes on the floor. Her shoes, his jacket, and then the bed. White sheets, disordered, a truth that didn't need language. She was naked, not caught, not startled, just seen. I remembered then how bones break properly, not with force, with leverage, with patience. I closed the door quietly and stood there long enough to understand that nothing I did next would bring the old world back. I drove home slow. The city tried to distract me with lights and noise, but my mind had turned inward, methodical. We had rules, we had rituals, we had an anniversary she forgot how to honor. I replayed months in reverse, late meetings, the new wardrobe, the way she'd stopped asking how my day went. I had called it growth, maturity, trust. Trust is a language people learn to misuse. Her boss's name surfaced everywhere once I let it. Calendar invites, expense reports, a laugh she'd borrowed and never returned. He had started appearing in her stories like a supporting character who thought himself the lead. At home, I washed my hands. I always do when something ends. I didn't confront her when she returned the next morning. I kissed her cheek. I asked about the trip. I listened to a lie delivered with professional cadence. Inside, something aligned. Shock gave way to clarity. The betrayal wasn't just physical, it was logistical, planned, maintained. I realized I hadn't lost her, she had reallocated herself. I became observant, quiet, useful. I learned the rhythm of her calls, the gaps in her days. I noted when she turned her phone face down. I noticed the receipts she forgot to shred. Patterns emerged. They always do. I requested phone records under the pretense of optimizing our plan. I audited expenses with the enthusiasm of a man rediscovering math. I watched her body language the way traders watch markets, detached, interested only in movement. At night, she slept easily. I did not. I rehearsed nothing. I collected everything. I learned where he stayed when he traveled. I learned how he filed reports. I learned the names of people who trusted him and why they shouldn't. Externally, I was agreeable. Internally, I was inventorying leverage. The strangest part was the calm. Rage tried to enter, but it had nowhere to sit. I wasn't angry. I was precise. She would talk about him without knowing. My boss thinks. My boss says. He lived in her mouth now, a habit. I nodded. I smiled. I wrote things down. Every step felt like a tightening circle. No confrontations, no explosions, just gravity doing its work. The evidence arrived without ceremony. A timeline, messages archived, expense anomalies that mapped to nights she was working late, a confirmation from a source who didn't know me and didn't need to. I printed nothing. I hate paper. I invited her to sit. She sensed it then, the temperature change, the way rooms know before people do. "Is something wrong?" she asked. I handed her my phone. A single screen, a date, a location, a message she recognized instantly. Her breath hitched. The performance collapsed. "It's not what it looks like," she said reflexively, a line so old it sounded tired. I nodded. "It's exactly what it looks like." She cried. She tried to touch my arm. I moved it away with 2 fingers. Not angry, surgical. I didn't ask questions. Questions are for people who don't know. I told her I had already spoken to his board. I told her the compliance report had written itself. Conflict of interest, expense fraud, abuse of authority. I told her dates and amounts, names. Her face drained. Not for us, for him. That was the final clarity. "You can't," she whispered. I already did. I didn't threaten, I informed. I told her she could keep the story she'd practiced, but it would have to be smaller now. I told her she would not be mentioned. He would, in detail. She sank into the chair like a marionette with cut strings. I stood. "Pack what's yours." She asked if I hated her. I considered the question honestly. "No," I said. "I understand you." That hurt her more than hate ever could. After she left, the apartment felt larger. Not empty. Accurate. I threw away the candles. I reset the clocks. I slept. Weeks later, I heard what happened to him. Titles removed. Apologies issued. Silence where arrogance used to live. I felt nothing. People think closure is loud. It isn't. It's the sound of a door locking from the inside. I don't replay the hotel room. I don't need to. The image did its work and retired. Bones break properly when you don't touch them at all. I walked away intact, different, and finally in control.